Hey, so what is up everybody? Today is another tutorial, and in this case, in this video, I'm going to show you how to make an HDR photo out of a single shot. So this is the original picture, and I'm going to show you how to make it look like this, a little HDR-ness into it with just one picture. Now what you need is this three specific software. This is what I usually use, this is what I normally use. There are a lot of ways to do it, but then this is the way I normally do it, and then I'm really used to this. So first of all, obviously, you have your Lightroom, which is a software to develop your pictures that you took, whether if it's JPEG or a raw photo or a video photo. So the picture, you need to shoot it in RAW. This is what I recommend. Shooting in RAW. JPEG is fine, but it won't have a lot of details compared to RAW. And since you want to tweak with the exposures, it will be better if you choose RAW instead of JPEG. So I have a shot taken with a 5D Mark II with the 70 to 40 millimeter f4 LUSM, and then this is taken in RAW, not JPEG. And then I load it up to Lightroom 4. First things first, I have a general sharpening, which is just a tweak that I like, a preset that sharpens mostly the thing I want to sharpen in this picture. So that's what I do. And then after that, I will export this picture into a specific file. But since JPEG does not have that much of a detail, I'm not gonna set the format to JPEG, but instead I'm gonna set it to TIFF, which is a lot bigger. And then the bit depth is gonna be 16 bits, and color space is just this. And then I'm gonna export this picture first into a folder or anywhere you want. And then as I let that export, I'm gonna tweak the exposure to 1 stop and see if I am fine with this. If I can see the what do you call that, in the shadow area, if I can see the details there. But since 1 stop isn't enough, I'm gonna go 2 stops. As you can see, like in this area, I can finally see a little bit more. It's a little bit more clear, except like unlike this, which is a little bit darker. So I'm gonna go with 2 stop as my highest. So I'm gonna export this as well. And since I am going with 2 stops, so similar TIFF, and since I'm going with 2 stops, I need to export the picture with 1 stop as well, so it has like a little smooth transition, so it's not directly from 0 to 2 directly, so it has like a picture between it. So 1 stop, I export this into the same folder, same format, TIFF, 16-bit, and then use unique names. And then that's for the exposure above 0. Now we're gonna go below 0 and try to look. Since we go 2 stops above, we're gonna see what would 2 stops below 0 look like. And since if we go underneath, it's gonna expose like the highlight areas, which is probably the sky. And since the sky does not have that much of a detail or any cool stuff to it, I'm just gonna go 1 stop. See, it's pretty fine. It's pretty natural looking sky right there. And I'm just gonna export this. You don't have to go like the same. If you go 2 stops above, you don't have to go 2 stops below. Just anywhere you like, anywhere you see fit, and then just export. Now as I'm gonna wait for that to finish exporting, and then what you need next is your PHOTOMATIX Pro or any other PHOTOMATIX software you have. So I'm gonna load up my Pro 4.2 right here, and then just simply load bracket photos. And then these are all the pictures. I'm gonna select the TIFF files only, and then drag it onto here, and then click OK. It's gonna pop up this box normally when you only have one picture shot taken. And I don't know if this is gonna affect anything, but I'm gonna change it anywhere. This is what I do normally. And I click OK. And since it's only taken a one picture, I'm not gonna align the source. I'm not gonna remove ghost, and then it's shot at a low ISO, so I don't need to reduce noise. However, I need to reduce the chromatic aberration. I don't know how to pronounce it. Since I exposed it like 2 stops above 0, which is gonna create some sort of a chromatic aberration. I'm gonna click OK and just let that load. It's gonna take a while. So as you finish loading your picture, it should pop out something like this. It's gonna go inside tone mapping directly. If not, you're gonna go the tone mapping by clicking process and this or Control T on your computer or Command T if you're on Mac. So I have a preset right here, and this part is pretty much where I do all my tweaking and stuff. Again, this is preference, it's up to you, but my tutorial is just to show you that you can take one picture to create a HDR look. So I'm gonna do the settings on my own right now. And normally when I play with PHOTOMATIX, I only tweak 4 or 5 different sliders. And the first thing is luminosity, detail contrast, lighting adjustment, of course, and then I have smooth highlight, shadow smoothness, and that's pretty much it. That's all I do when I'm doing this. I don't know what the rest are for, but I don't touch them at all if I don't know anything. So right now this is pretty fine. So I'm just gonna hit process the picture and let it wait again. And now since it's done, normally 4.2 has this finishing touches. I don't touch them at all. What I do with this picture is save it. It's the same TIFF, same bit format, and we're just gonna call this tutorial. And it's gonna save. And so once it's finished saving, I'm gonna open up Photoshop. This is the one I did before. I'm gonna load up the tutorial TIFF that I just saved from PHOTOMATIX. And now with Photoshop, I'm gonna do my normal routine process in doing HDR photos. So to summarize everything, I duplicate the layer, desaturate it, change its blending mode to soft light, go to filter, other, high pass, and then tweak this a little to see this little box, how much detail I want to pop out. So this is pretty much like a Lightroom clarity. And then not only look at here, I also look at this. If I boost it too much, it's gonna give me a lot of contrast into like the shadowy areas, which is not what I want. So I want about a little bit in the middle between. If it's too little, there's not gonna be a lot of clarity to it. So just about here is just right for my eyes. And then holding Control Alt Shift on the Windows or Control Command Shift. I don't know how to do it on the Mac, but you want to merge everything into one layer, and then you want to sharpen it again. And this setting is pretty much the same like I have in my Lightroom preset. Amount 45%, radius 1, and then the threshold 70. I don't know what slider does what. That's just how I do it. That's why I have a certain preset. And then after that, I reduce the noise. And depending on the ISO that it was shot at, maybe 1 will be enough. Since it has like a 2-stop above pictures in it, I'm just gonna do 1 strength for the noise reduction. And just gonna let it load again. So after it's done reducing the noise, I'm gonna flatten everything out into one single layer, and I'm just gonna save it. Now back into Lightroom. So open up library, export the same picture, the tutorial TIFF, into Lightroom first. And then I'm just gonna hit import when it's done opening up this box. And then I'm gonna hit on develop. And this is our product, but it's not that final yet. We can tweak a little if you want, like add a little clarity. Not so much, just about right there. Shadow, bring it up a bit. Highlights, bring it down. Add just a tad of contrast to it. Yeah, just like so. And normally if you look at an HDR photo, the colors are really vibrant, really saturated. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit vibrant to give it a little push on the colors. So just a little bit more. Yep. Like so, you can see the greens right here are really popping out. You can see the blues are popping out, like the reds in here on the stars. The orange are here popping up. And so this is pretty much it. A tutorial showing you how to create an HDR photo out of one raw shot. I hope you find this tutorial really helpful. Please share it around with your friends who wants to take HDR photo but doesn't have a tripod with them to take all those exposure shots. So this tutorial is just showing you that you indeed can take a raw shot and change it into an HDR photo. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Hope you stay tuned for more.